When my son walked through my door on that Mother's Day, holding a bouquet of sunflowers so bright they hurt my eyes, my first thought was that my prayers had finally been heard. My name is Alina Morrison. Most folks around here just call me Ella. I'm 68 years old, and I've lived in this little house on Cedar Creek Lane for over 40 years. It's a simple place, a bit worn around the edges just like me, but it's always been filled with love. It's the home where my late husband, Robert, and I raised our only child, our son, Michael. Robert passed away about 12 years ago, a sudden heart attack while he was out fishing. One moment he was there, my rock, my partner for 35 years, and the next, it was just me and the quiet hum of the refrigerator. I miss him every single day. After he was gone, I learned to fill the silence. I tend to my azalea bushes, I bake banana bread for the church socials, and I read. Oh, how I love to read. It was a quiet life, a simple life, and for a long time it was enough. Michael, my baby boy, is now 40 years old. He's a successful architect in Nashville, with a fancy apartment downtown and a calendar so full you'd need a magnifying glass to find a free spot. He built a life that looks perfect from the outside. I was so proud of him. I'd see his picture in the business journal sometimes, standing in front of a glass skyscraper he'd helped design, looking so serious and important. A far cry from the little boy who used to chase fireflies in this very yard. So when I saw him walk in that Sunday afternoon, a tired but handsome smile on his face, my heart just swelled. The sun was warm on the porch, the jasmine was blooming, and my son was home. He leaned down and gave me a quick kiss on the cheek, placing the sunflowers on the kitchen table. He looked around the room for a moment, his eyes landing on the faded photo of his dad and me on our wedding day. Then he turned to me with a look I'd come to know well. It was gentle, but it was distant. It was the look of a man whose mind was already on his next meeting. "Mom," he said, his voice soft but direct. "Kristen still sends you the $5,000 each month, right? I just wanted to double check and make sure you're doing okay." The world stopped. I heard the words, but for a second they didn't make any sense. They were just sounds floating in the air. 5,000. My heart, which had been so happy just a moment before, gave a hard, painful thump against my ribs. I felt the blood drain from my face, and my hand, the one holding my favorite coffee cup, started to tremble just a little. I gripped the edge of my worn-out apron, the one with the little blue flowers, to steady myself. For the last 9 months, I'd been living on the kindness of my neighbors and the food pantry at First Baptist Church. I'd learned to make a little bit of money go a very long way. I'd stopped buying fresh fruit. I'd let my magazine subscription run out. I'd even started walking to the library instead of driving to save on gas. The church ladies would drop off casseroles and say, "Thinking of you, Ella," and I'd smile and thank the Lord for them. I was getting by, but comfortable? No. Comfortable was a word that belonged to a different life. I looked at my son, his handsome face so full of certainty, and a cold dread washed over me. My voice came out as a whisper, thin and shaky. "Michael, honey, the church has been helping me. The food pantry, the nice ladies from the congregation. They've been my lifeline." His smile vanished, completely. It was like someone had flipped a switch. He just stared at me, his brow furrowing in confusion. And right then, the front door, which I hadn't even heard open, swung wide. My daughter-in-law, Kristen, swept into the room like she was walking onto a stage. She was a vision, a dress of the softest peach silk, heels that looked brand new and probably cost more than my monthly Social Security check, and a cloud of some expensive perfume that seemed to fill the whole house, drowning out the smell of my fresh-baked apple pie. Her smile was huge, bright, and dazzling, but her eyes were like looking into a winter sky, cold, clear, and empty. She glided over to Michael and put a perfectly manicured hand on his arm, tilting her head at me. "Oh, Alina," she said, her voice sweet as honey but with an edge underneath like a hidden splinter. "You must have forgotten. I stop by with the money on the first Tuesday of every month, like clockwork." She gave a little laugh, a tinkling sound that was meant to be charming. I just looked at her. I looked at her perfect dress and her perfect smile, and I felt a strange calm settle over me. It was the calm before a storm, the quiet right before the thunder cracks. "If you did bring it," I said, my voice much steadier than I felt. Well then, it must have gotten lost somewhere between your car and my front door. The ticking of the old grandfather clock in the hallway was suddenly the loudest sound in the world. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It was counting down something, but I didn't know what. Michael looked from me, in my old apron and slippers, to Kristen, in her silk and pearls. I could see the gears turning in his head, trying to make sense of what he was hearing. "Kristen," he said slowly, "you have been bringing the money, right? I have the bank alert on my phone. I transfer it to you on the 1st of every month, just like we agreed." Kristen's smile didn't waver, not even a little bit. "Of course I have, honey. Every single month, I hand it right to her." She looked back at me, her eyes narrowing just a fraction. "It's probably just her memory, you know. The doctor did say to watch for it. At her age, it's easy to misplace things or forget things." At her age, the words hung in the air, heavy and insulting. I'd heard it before from the young man at the hardware store who talked to me like I was hard of hearing, from the cashier who explained the total 3 times. But coming from her, it felt like a slap. She was painting me as a confused, forgetful old woman, the perfect victim. I felt a flicker of something I hadn't felt in a long time. It wasn't anger. It was a spark, a little flame of defiance. I didn't say another word. I just nodded, a small, slow nod, and turned to get Michael a glass of iced tea from the kitchen. Some battles, I've learned, aren't won with shouting. They're won by watching, by waiting, by knowing the truth in your bones while the other person thinks they've gotten away with it. Michael sat down, rubbing his forehead. "Mom, this is a mess. It's gotta be a mix-up at the bank. I'll look into it. I promise. I want you to be taken care of. That's all I want." I put the glass in front of him and managed a faint smile. But inside, a quiet storm was building. A storm of suspicion and a deep, burning resolve. As Michael drank his tea, Kristen walked over and perched on the arm of his chair, her hand resting possessively on his shoulder. She gave me another one of those dazzling smiles, but her eyes swept over me like I was a piece of furniture. It was the look of someone who thinks they hold all the cards. The look of someone who believes that a bank account is the same thing as a soul. She glanced around the room, at my doilies, my books, the photo of Michael in his Little League uniform. "You keep this place so clean, Alina," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "It must be so hard for you, all by yourself at your age." I met her gaze. "My age," I repeated softly. "Yes, I'm old enough to remember everything, Kristen, every face that comes through my door, every word that's spoken to me." Michael shifted, uncomfortable. "Mom." "It's Mother's Day, son," I said, my eyes still locked on Kristen's. "And all I want for my children is for them to be happy. But happiness built on a lie, well, that's not really happiness at all. It's just a house of cards." The smile on Kristen's face tightened, then vanished completely. They didn't stay long after that. The visit was ruined, and the air in the room was thick with unspoken accusations. After they left, I sat alone at the table, the bright sunflowers a cruel reminder of the hope I'd felt just an hour before. 9 months. That's what Michael had said. 9 months of $5,000 a month. That's $45,000. A fortune to me. Money that could have fixed my roof, replaced the noisy old water heater, and let me live out my years without worrying if I could afford my blood pressure medicine. Instead, I'd been stretching cans of soup and thanking God for a box of donated cereal. I put my hand on my chest. It wasn't anger I felt. It was a deep, hollow ache. The ache of being betrayed by the people you love. That night, I didn't watch my usual TV show. I got out my old recipe box, the one where I keep my favorite cookie recipes. I emptied it out and put it in a drawer. Then I took a new, clean notebook, one I'd bought for $1 at the grocery store, and wrote 2 words on the first page in my neatest handwriting. "Find the truth." And underneath that, I wrote one more line, pressing the pen hard into the paper. "Trust your gut." I closed the notebook. I wasn't just a lonely old widow anymore. I was Alina Morrison, and someone had just made a very big mistake. They'd underestimated me. The next few days were a fog. I'd go through the motions of my daily life, watering my plants, making my tea, going to church, but my mind was spinning. I kept replaying the conversation. Kristen's too bright smile, Michael's confused face, the cold, hard certainty in my own heart. Could I be wrong? That's the first thing that creeps in when you're my age. Doubt. You start to question yourself. Maybe the bank did make a mistake. Maybe they sent it to some other account with a similar name. Maybe Kristen did bring it, and I'd absent-mindedly thrown it away with the junk mail. The human mind can come up with 100 reasons to avoid the painful truth. But no, I remembered. I remembered every card, every small gift, every single visit. There had never been an envelope of cash. There had never been a check. There had only been Kristen's perfume and her plastic smiles. That Friday, I went to the small bank in town where I've had my savings account for 40 years. It's not one of those big, fancy banks. It's a local place where the tellers know your name. I sat down with a young woman named Sarah, whose grandmother used to be in my bridge club. I explained the situation as calmly as I could. My son thinks he's been sending me $5,000 a month for the last 9 months, I said, my voice quiet. I just need you to check if any of that money has ever made it into my account. Sarah looked surprised, but she was kind. She typed away at her computer for a minute, her brow furrowed. Then she looked up at me, her face full of sympathy. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Morrison, she said softly. I've checked all the way back to last September. The only deposit was your monthly Social Security. There's nothing from a Michael Morrison or any other transfer for that amount. Nothing at all. I just nodded. I thanked her, gathered my purse, and walked out of the bank. The Tennessee sun was warm on my face, but I felt cold all over. Cold and clear-headed. No bank mistake, no lost checks, nothing. For 9 months, I had cut coupons from the newspaper. I had eaten a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I had smiled and said, "Thank you," every time someone from the church brought me a casserole. I was grateful for every bit of it. But to know that all along, my son's money was out there somewhere and I was struggling. It was a hard pill to swallow. But more than the money, it was the lie, the pretending. The way Kristen looked me in the eye and said, "I bring it every month," with a straight face. That was the part that cut the deepest. I went home and sat at my kitchen table for a long time, just staring out the window at my azalea bushes. They were just starting to bloom, little pops of pink and red. Life goes on, doesn't it? It doesn't stop just because your heart is broken. I thought about what to do next. I could call Michael and accuse his wife. I could scream and cry and cause a big scene, but what good would that do? He'd already shown me who he believed. He'd taken her side without even a real question. He looked at me and seen a confused old woman with a faulty memory. A scene would just make me look hysterical. It would prove her point. No, that wasn't the way. That afternoon, I went to see Pastor Davis at the First Baptist Church. He's known me for over 30 years. He married me and Robert, and he baptized Michael. He's a good, quiet man with kind eyes. I found him in his office, and I told him everything. Not with anger, just with the facts. He listened without interrupting. When I was done, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he leaned forward and put his hand on mine. "Ella," he said, his voice gentle, "the Lord gave you a sharp mind and a good heart. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. You know what you know. Now, what do you aim to do about it?" "I'm not sure yet," I said, "but I'm not going to just sit here and let her get away with it." Pastor Davis smiled. "Good, then let's be smart about it. From now on, every time you have a conversation with her, you write it down. The date, the time, what she said. If she calls, write it down. If she visits, write it down. The truth is a powerful thing, Ella, but it needs a witness. That notebook will be your witness." It was the best advice anyone could have given me. I went straight home and got my little spiral notebook. I opened it to the first page, right under my original notes. I wrote the date, Tuesday, May 15th. And then I started writing. Kristen called today, said she was checking in. Her voice was too cheerful, asked if I was feeling all right. I said I was fine. She mentioned the money again, said, "I hope the bank situation got sorted out." I told her I hadn't seen anything. She got quiet for a second, then laughed and said she'd look into it. heard music and people laughing in the background, sounded like a restaurant. I wrote everything down. Every time she visited, every little thing she said. I became a detective in my own life. Thursday, June 7th. She came by with a box of expensive chocolates, ate one herself, said she was watching her figure. Asked if I'd seen the money yet. I said no. She sighed like I was being difficult. Said she'd talked to Michael about resending it. Didn't stay long. Saturday, July 21st. Another visit. This time she brought a scented candle that smelled like lavender. She looked even more polished than usual. New earrings, I think. Diamond studs. She said, "Michael is so busy, he asked me to handle all the financial stuff now. Just so you know, if you ever have any questions, you come to me, okay?" I just smiled and nodded. Each time after she left, I'd sit at the table and write. And with each line, the picture got clearer. She wasn't just lying. She was building a whole story, a whole fake reality, and trying to pull me into it. She was building a case for my own confusion, visit by sugary sweet visit. I started to see a pattern. She would never stay long. She would always bring a small, impersonal gift. And she would always bring up the money in a way that reinforced her lie. "Remember that money I brought you last month?" she'd say, her eyes watching me closely. And I'd just nod, playing the part of the forgetful old woman she wanted me to be. It was a strange game, pretending to be what she believed I was, but it gave me time. Time to watch, time to listen, and time to fill my little notebook with the truth. One afternoon in early August, she pulled up in a brand new car. A beautiful, sleek, silver thing that seemed to glow in the driveway. She got out, adjusting her sunglasses, looking like she just stepped out of a magazine. I was on the porch, snapping beans for supper. "That's a pretty car, Kristen," I said. She lit up. "Oh, this old thing?" Michael insisted. He said I deserved something nice for all the work I do managing the household. She ran her hand over the hood, admiring it. "It's so much safer than my old one." I looked at the gleaming car, and I thought about my own old pickup truck, the one with the dented fender and the AC that barely worked. I thought about the $800 estimate I'd gotten to fix my leaky roof, an estimate I couldn't afford. And I just nodded and smiled and went back to snapping my beans. That night, I added a new line to my notebook. August 9th, new silver car. Michael insisted, very proud, my roof still leaks. The pages were filling up. The evidence was mounting, but it was still just my word against hers. And her word came with a big smile and a brand new car. My word came from a spiral notebook from the grocery store. I needed more. I needed something that couldn't be explained away. One afternoon in late September, while I was out front deadheading my roses, an unfamiliar car pulled up to the curb. It wasn't shiny or new. It was a sensible dark blue sedan a few years old. A man got out. He was tall, maybe in his early 60s, with a kind, tired face and salt and pepper hair. He was wearing a plain button-down shirt and khakis. Not a suit, but he had the look of an office, if that makes sense. He walked up my path slowly, looking at my little house with a gentle curiosity. "Mrs. Morrison?" he asked, his voice deep and calm. "Yes, that's me," I said, wiping my hands on my gardening gloves. "My name is Arthur Bell," he said. "I'm the head accountant at Morrison & Co., your son's architecture firm." My heart skipped a beat. An accountant here. I felt a flicker of fear. Had I stirred up trouble? Had Michael sent him to tell me to stop asking questions? "Please," I said, my voice a little shaky. "Come in. Can I get you some iced tea?" He smiled. "That would be lovely, thank you." We sat at my kitchen table. The late afternoon sun streamed through the window, making the dust motes dance. He took a sip of his tea and then looked at me, his eyes serious. "Mrs. Morrison," he began, "I'm here because one of my junior accountants, a young woman named Sarah, overheard me on the phone. She mentioned that you'd been in the bank asking about some missing funds. She was worried about you." My throat tightened. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cause any trouble at the bank. I was just..." He held up a hand to stop me. "You didn't cause any trouble, but it got me thinking. I do the books for your son, and I've seen the automatic withdrawals. $5,000 on the first of every month without fail for the last 9 months. The payee listed is E. Morrison. It's been bothering me. I know your son, and I know he'd want you to have that money, so I did a little digging of my own. He reached into a worn leather satchel he'd brought with him and pulled out a thin manila folder. He slid it across the table towards me. Inside was a single sheet of paper. It was a bank statement. At the top, it had an account number I didn't recognize, but the name on the account, in plain black and white, made my blood run cold. Eleanor R. Morrison. My name, my full name. I looked up at Arthur Bell, my hand flying to my mouth. I don't have an account with that number, I whispered. I know, he said softly. That's the account the money has been going into. I traced it. It was opened about 10 months ago, right before the first transfer. The address on file is a P.O. box in a town about 30 miles from here, not your address. And the signature card. He paused, his face full of pity. The signature card has your name on it, but the signature itself, it's a forgery. A pretty good one, but a forgery nonetheless. The E is too fancy, and the Morrison loops in a way your handwriting doesn't. I stared at the paper. My name, my identity, stolen, used to steal from my own son. The room felt like it was spinning. I gripped the edge of the table to steady myself. Mr. Bell, I breathed. Who opened that account? Who is doing this? He looked at me for a long moment. Mrs. Morrison, the account was opened by your daughter-in-law, Kristen Morrison. I have a copy of the opening documents. Her driver's license is on file as the secondary cardholder. There it was, the proof. Not just my word, but bank records, signatures, dates, all of it. The weight of it hit me like a physical blow. It wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated, deliberate theft. She had used my name, my identity, to steal a fortune from her own husband, my son. And while she was doing it, she was buying new cars and diamond earrings and driving around in her fancy clothes, smiling in my face and calling me forgetful. I felt tears prick my eyes, but I blinked them back. This wasn't a time for crying. This was a time for thinking. Mr. Bell, I said, my voice finding a new kind of strength. Why are you telling me this? You could get in a lot of trouble. He sighed. Maybe, but I've been an accountant for 35 years. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen greed ruin families. And I've seen good, trusting people like your son get taken advantage of. It's not right. Your son is a good man, Mrs. Morrison. He's blind when it comes to her. He trusts her completely. He signs whatever she puts in front of him because he's too busy, too tired, and he trusts her. Someone has to open his eyes. He put another piece of paper on the table. I also pulled records from the company credit card, the one that's supposed to be for client dinners and office supplies. Take a look. It was a list of charges. A spa weekend in Asheville, a designer handbag from a boutique in Nashville, a down payment on a new car, first-class flights to Miami. The charges totaled nearly $30,000 over the past few months. I just shook my head, speechless. The scale of it was staggering. She hadn't just taken my money. She was bleeding the company dry, too. What do I do? I asked, my voice a hoarse whisper. Arthur Bell leaned forward. You have options. You can confront her, but she'll just lie. She's good at it. You can go to your son and he might believe you or he might not. It's a risk. Or, he paused, you can go to the police. This is identity theft, Mrs. Morrison. It's fraud. It's a crime. With this paperwork, it's an open and shut case. The word police hung in the air. It sounded so harsh, so final. It meant dragging my son's name through the mud. It meant a public scandal. It meant admitting that my family was broken. But it also meant justice. I need to think, I said. This is a lot to take in. He nodded, understanding. Of course, keep those papers, they're copies. I have the originals in a safe place. If you need a witness, if you need me to testify to what I found, I will. I gave you my card. Call me anytime. After he left, I sat alone in the kitchen until the sun went down. The papers lay on the table in front of me, a stack of cold, hard truth. I felt a strange mix of emotions. Shock, pain, a deep, aching disappointment. But underneath it all, there was a flicker of something else. A strange, quiet calm. The fog of confusion was gone. I knew what was real now, and knowing was the first step. I opened my little spiral notebook to a new page. I wrote the date, September 25th, and then I wrote in my neat handwriting, Arthur Bell, the company accountant, came to see me. He brought proof. Kristen opened a fake account in my name. The money is all there, 9 months of it. She also used the company card for personal things, $30,000. I have the proof. The truth is on paper now. The question is, what do I do with it? I closed the notebook. The house was dark and quiet. I looked at Robert's picture on the mantle. He was smiling his big, goofy smile, the one he always had when he was about to tell a joke. I could almost hear his voice. "Well, Ella girl," he'd say, "looks like you've got some hard choices to make." I knew he was right. The evidence was in my hands, but the hardest part was yet to come. I spent the next few days just sitting with it all. The proof was in a manila envelope tucked into my recipe box, right between the recipe for Robert's favorite oatmeal cookies and my grandmother's cornbread dressing. Evidence of a crime hidden next to my most precious family recipes. It felt wrong. I prayed on it. I talked to Pastor Davis about it. He listened, his face grave. "Ella," he said finally, "justice and family. Sometimes they pull in opposite directions. You have to find the path that lets you live with yourself." That's when I decided. I didn't want to go to the police. Not yet. That felt like setting off a bomb. The fallout would be huge, and Michael would be caught right in the middle of it. He didn't deserve that. He was a victim in all this, too, even if he didn't know it yet. No, what I wanted was for Michael to see the truth for himself. I wanted him to look at his wife, at her beautiful smile and her fancy car, and see what was really behind it. I wanted to give him a chance to be the man his father raised him to be. And so I came up with a plan, a simple one. I called Michael. "Hi, sweetheart," I said, keeping my voice light and warm. "I was thinking, it's been too long since we've all had a nice family dinner. Nothing fancy, just some pot roast, like I used to make for you when you were a boy. Could you and Kristen come over this Sunday?" He sounded happy, relieved even, probably glad I wasn't still upset about the money thing. "That sounds great, Mom. Kristen will love it. What time?" "Let's say 6 o'clock, I said. "Plenty of time for visiting." The week crawled by. I cleaned the house from top to bottom. I polished Robert's old silverware. I set the table with my best lace tablecloth, the one I only used for Christmas. And on Sunday morning, I got up early and started cooking. The pot roast went into the oven, filling the whole house with the smell of onions and carrots and slow-cooked meat. I made mashed potatoes, just the way Michael liked them, with lots of butter and a little bit of cream. I even baked a chocolate pie, his favorite. It was all perfectly ordinary. That was the point. At 6 o'clock on the dot, I heard a car pull into the driveway. I took a deep breath, smoothed down my dress, and opened the door. Michael looked nice, clean-shaven, and relaxed. He gave me a big hug. "Something smells amazing, Mom." And right behind him was Kristen. She was wearing a crisp white linen dress and looked like she just stepped out of a catalog. Her smile was wide and practiced. "Alina," she chirped, air-kissing the space next to my cheek. "This is so sweet of you. A real home-cooked meal. What a treat." I smiled back. "Come on in. Dinner's almost ready." The first part of the evening went perfectly. We made small talk. I asked about their work. Kristen talked about a charity gala she was planning. Michael talked about a new building project. We ate the pot roast, and Michael made all the right sounds, telling me it was just as good as he remembered. Kristen ate daintily, complimenting the food without actually eating very much of it. I let the meal go on. I let the wine flow. I let them get comfortable. I let Kristen's guard down. When we were finishing up the chocolate pie, I looked across the table at Kristen, and I smiled warmly. "You know, Kristen," I said, "I've been meaning to thank you properly for all your hard work." She tilted her head, looking pleased. "Oh, Alina, it's nothing. I'm happy to help Michael with anything he needs." I nodded. "Well, it's more than that, especially with the money. It must be such a hassle to drive all the way out here every month to bring me that $5,000. She took a delicate bite of pie. "Oh, it's my pleasure." Michael, chewing his pie, looked up. "It is a long drive, honey. I keep telling you we can just set up a direct transfer. It would be so much easier." Kristen waved her fork dismissively. "I don't mind, Michael. It gives me a chance to visit with Alina." She gave me a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I kept my expression sweet and curious. I was just wondering, though, I said, my voice innocent. How do you usually bring it? I mean, $5,000 in cash is such a thick stack of bills. Do you bring a check? For a split second, I saw a flicker of panic in her eyes. Just a tiny flash here and gone. Then she recovered. Oh, well, sometimes a check, sometimes cash. It depends, she said, her voice a little too bright. Michael put his fork down, a small frown on his face. Wait, honey, I don't transfer you cash. I send a bank transfer directly to Mom's account. I've done it every month for 9 months now. You don't have to handle any money at all. It's all electronic. The air in the room changed. It got thick, heavy. Kristen's smile froze on her face. It was like someone had hit pause. A transfer, she said, her laugh a little high and brittle. No, honey, you're mistaken. You definitely said to handle it myself. You said you were too busy to mess with the banking details. Michael shook his head slowly. No, I'm sure I didn't. I set up the auto-pay myself. On the 1st of every month. It's for $5,000 to an account in Mom's name, E. Morrison. The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear the ice melting in my tea glass. Well, I said softly, breaking the quiet, this is strange, because I was at the bank not too long ago, and they told me they've never seen a penny from Michael. Kristen's face went pale under her perfect makeup. She stared at me, and for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. It wasn't fear of being caught. It was the fear of losing everything she had. I need some air, she said abruptly, pushing her chair back with a loud scrape against the wood floor. She stood up, her napkin falling to the ground, and walked quickly to the front door, stepping out onto the porch. Michael stared after her, his face a mask of confusion. Then he looked at me. Mom, what's going on? I just looked back at him, my eyes full of a sadness I couldn't hide. I don't know, son, but I think you need to ask your wife. He got up and went out to the porch after her. Through the window, I could see them talking on the dark porch. Her hands were waving. He was standing still, his posture rigid. I couldn't hear the words, but I could feel the anger, the betrayal, the crumbling of their carefully constructed world. I stayed in my chair at my beautifully set table and waited. The chocolate pie sat untouched between us. The pot roast was just a memory, and the truth I had so carefully laid out was finally sitting at the table with us, an uninvited but undeniable guest. They were out there for a long time, long enough for my coffee to go cold, long enough for the candles to burn down to little stubs. I just sat there, my hands folded in my lap, waiting. I felt strangely peaceful. The hard part was over. The truth was out. Finally, the front door opened. Michael came in first. His face was pale, his eyes red-rimmed. He looked like he'd aged 10 years in the last hour. He didn't look at me. He just walked to the table and sat down heavily in his chair, staring at his empty plate. Kristen came in behind him. She wasn't crying. Her face was set in a hard, cold mask. The mask was off. There was no more sweet act, no more fake smiles. She looked at me and her eyes were pure poison. She didn't sit down. Michael spoke, his voice hoarse. Mom, is it true? Did you ever get any money? I looked him straight in the eye. No, Michael, not a single penny. He closed his eyes, a pained look on his face. He believed me. I could see it. He finally believed me. Kristen let out a harsh, ugly laugh. Oh, this is rich. The poor, helpless old lady, the master manipulator. You set this whole thing up, didn't you? This little dinner, this little performance. You just couldn't stand to see us happy. I looked at her and I felt no anger, just a deep, profound pity. I didn't set anything up, Kristen, I said calmly. I just stopped pretending I didn't know. Michael slammed his hand on the table, making the silverware jump. Kristen, stop it, just stop. He looked at her, his face full of pain. Arthur Bell came to see me, the accountant. He showed me everything. The fake bank account, the company credit card, all of it. The spa trips, the new car, the flights. Did you think I'd never find out? For the first time, the mask on Kristen's face cracked. She looked scared, really scared. Michael, I can explain. I was going to pay it back. I got in over my head. The wedding, the house, the parties, it's what people expect from us. I had to keep up appearances. For you, I did it for you. For me, Michael's voice rose. You stole from my mother. You let her struggle. You let her rely on the church while you were buying yourself a new car. You lied to my face for 9 months. I didn't think she needed it. Kristen snapped back, her voice desperate and sharp. She's fine. She has her little house and her church friends. She doesn't need $45,000. What would she even do with it? We needed it. We have a life to maintain. I closed my eyes. Hearing her say it out loud was worse than I ever imagined. The total disregard, the contempt. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was about being seen as worthless, as an obstacle to their real life. When I opened my eyes, Michael was staring at his wife as if he'd never seen her before. The shock was gone. In its place was a cold, hard reality. Get out, he said. His voice was quiet, but it was final. Kristen stared at him. What? Get out of my mother's house, he said, each word clipped and clear. Go home, pack your things, I'll be there later. We have a lot to talk about, but right now I need you to leave. For a moment I thought she was going to fight. Her face twisted with anger, but then she saw the look in Michael's eyes. It was the look of a man who had finally woken up, a man who had seen behind the curtain and wasn't going back. Without another word, she turned, grabbed her purse, and walked out. The door didn't slam. It just clicked shut quietly like the end of a chapter. The silence after she left was heavier than any noise. Michael sat at the table, his head in his hands. His shoulders shook, but he didn't make a sound. I got up, walked over to him, and put my hand on his back, just like I used to do when he was a little boy and had a nightmare. I'm so sorry, Mom, he whispered, his voice muffled. I'm so sorry. I didn't believe you. I called you forgetful. I let her do this to you. SHHH, I said softly, rubbing his back. It's okay, son. You know now that's what matters. But the money, he said, looking up at me, his eyes wet with tears. She spent it. I don't know if we can get it back. It's just money, Michael, I said, and I meant it. It's just money. We'll figure it out. We always do. We sat there for a long time, mother and son, in the quiet of my little house. The candles had burned out completely, leaving only the faint smell of wax. The truth, so long hidden, now sat between us, painful and raw. But for the first time in 9 months, it was just us. No secrets, no lies, just us. The next few weeks were a blur. Michael went home, and true to his word, they had a long, hard conversation. He told me later that Kristen didn't even try to deny it anymore. The evidence was too strong. She confessed to everything. She'd been doing it for longer than 9 months. The fake account, the credit card fraud, it had all started small and just snowballed. She felt entitled to the lifestyle, she said. She felt that Michael's success was her success and that the money was as much hers as his. My little allowance was just a drop in the bucket for them, she thought. She never imagined I'd notice or that I'd be able to do anything about it. She underestimated the quiet ones. Michael filed for divorce. It was a clean break. He didn't press charges against her, which surprised some people. But I understood. She was still the woman he'd loved, and dragging her through the criminal justice system would have been a different kind of pain. He just wanted it to be over. As part of the divorce settlement, he took control of all the assets and demanded she sign over the money in the fake account. He managed to recover about $25,000 of the original $45,000. The rest was gone, spent on things he didn't even want to know about. A few weeks later, he showed up at my door with a thick envelope. He put it on the kitchen table. It's $25,000, Mom, he said. It's what's left of what she took. I'm so sorry it's not all of it. I looked at the envelope. It was more money than I'd seen in years. It could fix the roof 10 times over, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like a bandage on a deep wound. Thank you, son, I said softly. I want to give you more, he said, his voice earnest. Every month from now on, the right way, directly into your account. No more middlemen. I should have done it that way from the start. I smiled. That would be fine, Michael. That would be just fine. Life has a way of moving on, even when you feel stuck. The seasons changed. The leaves fell, then the winter came with its cold rains, and then, slowly, the first hints of spring started to show in my garden. The roof got fixed. It was strange to have workmen hammering and clomping around, but the first time it rained and not a single drop came into my living room, I sat in my chair and just listened to the sound of the rain on the new shingles. It was the sweetest music. I bought a new water heater, too. Now I can take a hot shower whenever I want, without worrying it will run out after 5 minutes. It's the little things, the little comforts that make a house a home. But the biggest change wasn't in the house. It was in my son. Michael started coming by more often, not just for special occasions, but for regular Sunday afternoons. He'd bring a pizza or a bucket of fried chicken, and we'd sit on the porch and talk. Really talk. Not about work or money, but about things. Books he was reading, memories of his dad. He asked me about my childhood, about growing up in this very town. It was like he was getting to know me all over again. One Sunday, he told me about an idea he had. "Mom," he said, "I've been thinking a lot about the food pantry at the church, about how they helped you when you needed it. I want to do something for them, something real." He told me his plan. He wanted to use some of his company's resources to help design and build a proper addition onto the church's community hall. A new, modern kitchen and a bigger space for the food pantry, with proper storage and refrigeration. He'd pay for it all himself. I just looked at him, my heart so full I thought it might burst. "That's a wonderful idea, Michael. Your father would be so proud of you." He smiled, a real, genuine smile that I hadn't seen in years. "I hope so, Mom. I'm trying to be the man he raised me to be." The day they broke ground on the new community center was one of the proudest days of my life. Pastor Davis said a prayer. Michael gave a little speech, his voice a little shaky, about how important it is to take care of your neighbors. And I stood in the crowd, watching my son, and I felt a peace I hadn't felt since Robert was alive. The money Kristen stole had caused so much pain, but watching it be transformed into something good, something that would help dozens of families for years to come, it felt like redemption, like the story wasn't over, like the ending could still be beautiful. One evening, not long after the new center opened, I was out on my porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. Michael was there, sitting in the old wicker chair next to mine. He had a glass of sweet tea, and I had a cup of coffee. The air smelled like honeysuckle. Mom," he said quietly, breaking the comfortable silence, "I think about it all the time, how I almost lost you, how I almost lost myself." "You didn't, though," I said. "You found your way back." He nodded slowly. "Because you left the light on." He looked at me, his eyes soft. "You could have hated me, you could have turned your back on me, but you didn't, you just waited." I reached over and took his hand. It was a big, strong hand now, a man's hand, but I could still feel the little boy in it. "That's what mothers do, Michael. We wait, we hope. We never stop loving even when it hurts, especially when it hurts." We sat there for a while longer, watching the stars start to peek out one by one. I thought about my little spiral notebook, still tucked away in my recipe box. I hadn't opened it in months. I didn't need to. The truth had done its work. It had been painful, but it had also set us free. I looked over at my son, his face relaxed and peaceful in the fading light. The storm had passed. The trust was broken, yes, but something new was growing in its place. Something stronger, something built on truth. It wasn't the same as before. It was better. The next morning, I was in the garden, tending to my flowers. The sunflowers Michael had given me that Mother's Day, the ones that had started it all, had long since wilted and died. I'd pulled them out and thrown them away, but a funny thing happened. A few weeks later, I noticed tiny new green shoots coming up in the same spot. New sunflowers, growing from the seeds the old ones had dropped. I smiled. It felt like a sign. The old, painful memories were gone, but something new and hopeful was taking root. Life, I thought, is a lot like a garden. It has its storms, its weeds, its seasons of drought. But if you tend to it with patience and love, it always finds a way to bloom again. And right there, in the warm Tennessee sunshine, surrounded by my little patch of earth, I felt a deep, abiding peace. The kind of peace that doesn't come from having money in the bank or a fixed roof over your head. It comes from knowing who you are, from knowing the truth and having the courage to stand by it. And from knowing that, no matter what, love can find its way back home. Thank you for staying with me until the very end of my story. If you've ever faced injustice or betrayal within your own family, share your story in the comments below. I truly want to hear it because maybe your voice today could help someone else find hope tomorrow. And if you believe, as I always have, that the truth will always find its way home, please like, subscribe, and stay for the next stories. I'll tell you about women, about mothers, about those who once fell but rose again through the light of justice and compassion.